the things that Jason was talking about, I had on my OP call I talked about today, so we're all in the same with that, so. All right, well, let's get going. First of all, does anybody have any questions about the announcement on Stone Point Partners, or anything I need to answer to clear any questions? And how are you using that as your tool to be able to get some appointments? Because if I were a team leader right now, that would be the one thing I would be doing with anybody that's a top agent or an indie. I would be sending out or making a little call and saying, hey, we're excited about our newest partnership with Stone Point. We're gonna, if I were looking for indies, I'd say we're gonna be expanding and growing in your area. If you want to learn what our what this opportunity could look like, give me a call, or just to learn more. We're excited to be coming to your area. Just a little bit of that fear of, oh, I wonder what that means. They haven't been this aggressive before. Plus, the other thing is, you all saw an announcement from Redfin about they're being actually purchased. You know, Keller Williams has a partnership, but Redfin is actually being purchased by Rocket Company. And Rocket Company, for those of you that don't know, owns Rocket Mortgage and other entities. And so now Redfin is going to be just part of that company, which is probably good for them. And but it also just shows you that, you know, there's a lot of things happening, and they do this from a growth perspective. So to be honest with you, I'm glad we did our announcement first. Chris McLaughlin, don't you agree with that? Because if we had made our announcement secondary to that, we would look like we were following suit. Don't you agree?
Right. Yeah, I agree on that. And then also, you know, Redfin has struggled for a while to get their stock up, and they just haven't been able to do it just because I think they tend to attract lesser quality agents because they don't give the upside to the agent.
Right.
But so it's not surprising to see them acquired. I think it was kind of in the cards.
And now that's what they're going to have to work their referrals.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, agents that want to work on a salary.
Exactly. So, you know, in a way, Rebecca, it takes a lot of people out of the.
Yep. I said we should go after them.
Yeah, and then the ones that want to grow, those are gonna go.
They'll be good team members for Zillow Flex.
There you go. There you go.
They only have Redfin only has about like 2,200 agents. Pretty small.
That's it.
Right.
Yeah, only like 2,200 agents. What I read this morning.
And they haven't been
they're all
profitable
salary
ever, really.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that. Yeah. So anyway, so all of this is really good news for us. But take advantage of the messaging that you're hearing. Get with your operating principal if you're confused about what you should be saying, or how you can be saying this, or how you can be using it to your advantage. And don't, you know, one of the things that EXP and LPT and some of these other companies do, but in particular those two, is anytime anything happens, they get out there and they start sending a message, whether it's a message about us being something they want us to, whether they're sending our message, which is wrong, or something that they've done to propel them. They do a really good job of getting that message out. And Keller Williams, I think last week, did a really good job of getting the message out to all of you very quickly. Now, it's your job to take that message and get it out to the people that you know. That's not Keller Williams RI's job. That's your job, because you're the franchisee. You're the people that have the franchise. So that's your job in your area to take that information. I'm going to show you where you can get that in a few minutes, but I want to be celebratory first and celebrate some of our successes for the month of February. And then I'm going to show you where we have actually placed some of this information to make it really easy for you. Okay. So first of all, let me share my screen, and where did my there it goes. Let me share my screen and share some of the oh, see, I'm already up here ready for you guys. So hold on for a second. That kind of got in my way. Just a second. So I should have had this up already, but you can see how organized Ashley keeps us, where we have all of our all of our stuff already prepared for you guys. You can probably come back. I have stuff from 2000 on here. It's pretty, pretty interesting. All right, first of all, I want to show you, well, let me show you here for the month end close for the month of February. Now, guys, while I'm doing this, I want to share some observations. I want to celebrate everybody's success, first of all, because I want to give you from my heart a big thank you because we broke 200. Now our goal was 353, but I'll take 200 right now because we have been hitting about 175 and 180. So a big thank you for getting over 200. So number one, that was great. Number two, I thought we were going to be negative. Last month we were negative like 175 and we were -7. So I will take it because I thought we were going to be -19. So I'll take that as well. So incremental steps, and thank you, because you made yourself look good first, and then you made the region look good. So first of all, thank you. And then a big congratulations to our 12 market centers that gross 7 or more. So you see over here, 12. So all of these market centers, Lake Nona, St. Petersburg, Brandon, Metro, Tampa Central, Orlando Central, Orlando Southwest, South Shore, Winter Haven, Winter Park, Bradenton Manatee, Jack's Mandarin. And that's good. Rebecca and Jean, that's our new team leader, right? No, that's Susan. So congratulations. Congratulations, Susan, for doing that. Susan's kind of new. I mean, within the last year. So so good job there. And then we have our market centers that we had 7 market centers that were 6 and 5. Celebration, Claremont, Orlando, Waterford, Tallahassee, Jack's Beach, Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, South Tampa. So good job there. I'd love to see those market centers at 7 or greater. And then we have some opportunity here with our market centers doing 4 and 3, which were 11. And then we had several that did, we had 8. So we had 19 of our 38 market centers be below 4. So if we can get these market centers in these categories getting up here to our 7 or 8, we're going to really be spiffy. Okay. And I know that with some of the things that we're going to be doing and some of the things Keller Williams is doing, some of the things we're going to be doing, I know we're going to make that happen. So first of all, great job on moving up, and thank you very much for that. All right. Now, I also wanted to show you something that has to do with appointments. Okay. And I'm going to talk about some people here, and I want to do it in a positive way, because I think there's some opportunities here for us to get better. So I'm not trying to leave anybody out or dismiss anybody. This is just me wanting everybody, because I'm always known as the plusser, I guess, and I'm always wanting to plus things and look at things and see, well, if we can do this, how could we do this? Okay, so this is for all of you to be better. So first of all, congratulations. Ocala had 53 appointments, and Lakeland 42, New Tampa 38, 36 for St. John's, Venice had 35, Tampa Central 34, Gainesville 34, and Sarasota Lakewood Ranch 30. So thank you. Good job on getting your appointments. Now, out of all of these, I wanted to highlight Tampa Central and Dallas because they actually are hitting the mark at 25%. So if you take 25 times 34 appointments, that's 9. If you were to take 25% of 40 appointments, you would be at 10. Okay. So I look at this and see a couple of things. First of all, I wanted you all to know, I think you all did a magnificent job. And I look at this and I see 4s and 2s, and I go, where can we help? Where can we help if we're getting 38 appointments? How can we get that one up to 9? How can we get to a 25% conversion ratio up to 9? What are we missing? So I kind of look at it that way. Okay. And that's where I want to be able to help you all be better with your operating principal. And we had some conversations earlier today with the operating principal of how can they assist you in, if we're seeing these appointments, by checking in with you, how can we help you be better at what your job is? Now, Christina, I mean, good job here to Christina as well, because she did, she had 28 appointments and she got 8. So, I mean, that's that's a bigger conversion number, so she's having less appointments and doing 8, so I'm just as happy with that. And if that works for you, that's awesome, as long as this is 8. But if you're 28 and converting at a lower number, then I would say there's opportunities there. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, because the more appointments you have, the more you should be able to convert at a higher level. If I see that you're having, like this doesn't, I love Liliana and what she does, but 19 appointments and 14, it's like that means that almost every person she has, they're converting. Well, that's good as well, but sometimes that doesn't make sense to me either, because I don't know if this is an actual number or if we're just taking everybody. So I'm just giving you how I look at things and see where there's some opportunities here. Like Orlando Central, this is great. We're converting at 50%, and that's awesome. But yet I look at that and I go, well, if we were doing 40 appointments, can you convert to 20 then? I mean, I don't know. So, and I don't know if the numbers are accurate. So I'm just showing you things that I look at and see, obviously, if we're having less appointments, where can we do more appointments and where can we increase these numbers? Anybody have any observation on this? Hey, Jean and Rebecca, since you guys were mega agents, when you have a team, and Jean, you're out there teaching all the time, if you have a buyer's agent that was going out and having appointments, we have like a 70 to 80% conversion on a buyer or seller appointment, right? Or sometimes 90% conversion, right?
Absolutely.
So this would kind of be the same thing, because our natural conversion for a team leader would be 25% of appointments. That's what our kind of standard is. So if you're not having enough appointments, theoretically, you can't get the gross up. But then I think if you were a listing agent and you were looking at it and you were saying like, my God, if you can convert it 90% on 5 appointments, what would happen if you had 10 appointments and get more listings, right?
Yeah.
Georgia,
That's
are you pulling these numbers from Command, or is these coming from the Slack that the team
This
leaders?
is from Command, what your MCA put into Command.
Okay.
So, and I love that, Lennon. So this is Command number. So if you see your numbers are off and you're going like, well, wait a minute, I had more appointments than that, then you need to have a conversation with your MCA, because she might be only putting in what numbers she believed you had. Okay, but to your point, Lennon, guys, here's the thing. Slack is important. It's important to me. I look at that. You see me making notes and stuff, and I'm watching it and I'm going like, it's the end of the week and we only had 3 appointments. Like, what's going on? So Lennon, to your point, Slack and Command should match 100%. It could be off by 2 or 3, but does that make sense, Lennon?
Yeah, I was just wondering, because looking at some of these numbers,
No, these are from the MCA input off of Command.
okay.
In fact, this report came from Command. This isn't anything that we even did. This report came right off of Command. And if there's a 0, a dash here, it's because there wasn't a number input. Now, to this point, we should have 1,520. If you take 40 appointments times 38, it's 1,520 appointments. And we had 825. So this is of the 825, how many R2s we have. So we're about 40% or we're pretty much 50% of where we could be, 40% of where we could be for our appointments, or 60%. What would that be? Anyway, you guys get my point. So we're not having enough appointments here. If we should be at 1,520, we're at 825. I look at this and I go, oh my gosh, here's what I look at. If we had, and by the way, we're converting at about 23%. So 1,500, and this is what you should all be doing. 1,520 appointments times 25% is 380. Okay, so 380 minus 208 is 172 more. 172 more, 172 minus 7 means we would have netted 165. Now, I know that we had some adjustments and some people, but I don't think a lot actually. coded some people a little bit differently while we manage them out, but cause I didn't see a lot of that happening. And at the same time, we would have had another 100 to 165 net. This is why the activities of what we do every day are so important to our appointments. So that's what we're gonna be talking about and focusing on this month is our appointments. Any questions or anything? I love the comment you made, Glenn, thank you so much for that.
George, I have
now
a
let-
question.
Yes,
I put it in the chat, but I'm just curious if maybe we can answer in the chat. How many appointments do you all feel that you're having with R2s now in this market before you convert them into Keller Williams agents? How many appointments are you taking with the same person?
are they putting it in the chat?
No.
Well, we're not having, I'll be honest with you, here's the, Suzanne, here's the appointments here, okay? So only a few of them are having anything of significance, right? But I can answer your question. I think, in my opinion, if we're doing our job at the highest level and we're having a great consulting appointment with people, and I'm talking about an average, R2 is a big word, Suzanne. You could have a $50 million person, or you could have a $10 million person, or you could have a $3 million person, okay? I think those are all at different levels, because obviously a team is going to take a little bit longer to move over probably than somebody that's an R2 that's having some challenges. But here's the thing I'm going to say about that is I think that you can recruit a camper in 1 or 2 appointments, okay? If you're doing the right consulting appointment. Now I would say probably a lower level one. A team is going to take a little bit more time. But here's the problem that I have with that. And I love the fact, honestly, that you asked this question. Because people say, now, Suzanne, you've only been the team leader there for a short time, so you haven't had this opportunity that I'm going to tell you about right now, okay? Because when team leaders say, it takes a long time to get a camper, and I go, okay, well, you've been in the role for 5 years. What did I just say, Suzanne? You've been talking to these people for 5 years.
Sorry, I was on mute. Exactly. You've been there long enough where it should be.
Exactly. So that's just
routine.
if somebody tells me like it takes too long to get a camper, I go, well, you've been the team leader for 5 years. You've been the team leader for 4 years. You've been the team leader for 2 years. That just tells me you haven't been talking to them enough. Does that make sense? If somebody says it takes 2 years to get a camper, then I just say, well, when was the last time you had an appointment with them? And then somebody says, well, I haven't had an appointment with them yet. Well, okay. And maybe part of it's, I know I'm speaking rather openly right now, and I'm not here to create anybody making them feel bad, but the bottom line is, guys, we got to get really, really good at what we do. Because I guarantee you, if you get somebody in front of you and you show them value, and you know how to consult them, and you know their big why, and you know how you can take their business from here to here, or change their life from here to here, you're going to get these people to want to be with you, because they're not getting that at another company. And that's why I want to have these special team leader sessions with you every 30 days or 45 days, because I feel that there's a lot that we can be sharing with you from different people's experiences that you can't just get sitting in your market center all by yourself sometimes. Okay. And so I want to be able to share some of this with you and help you get better at what you do. So I love your question, Suzanne. And does that kind of make sense to you?
It does. And I also agree with people in the chat. It is taking 2 to 3 appointments to close them, because we do have so much value. And showing what Command does and thrive.kellerwilliams.com, I think that takes a whole appointment. You don't want to overwhelm them,
I
but
wouldn't even be going there, Suzanne. I
well,
wouldn't be
that's
showing
how
anybody
I got
Thrive.
too. So, I
Well,
mean,
that-
people love. Okay, got it.
And I don't mean to come across that way. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we got to get to the meat of what somebody wants. Because sometimes I think we show them the smorgasbord instead of saying, oh, you want a prime rib? Here it is. And we show them everything, the chicken, the macaroni and cheese, the this, instead of finding out what they really want as their need. and then focusing in on that. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, and I didn't mean to come across that way, so I apologize, but I just think sometimes we do a presentation to people. And I know they love it and I know they see it, and then they go away with, oh my gosh, I gotta think about all of these things and whatever. And I think that what you're gonna find in some of the things we're gonna teach you is this is how you sit down and find out what somebody's big why is about. And then you talk to them about their business. Now, I know a new agent could be different, but they're basically gonna be the same thing as well. And then you find out what they want and we help them get that. That, Gene, Gene, is that, if you were to go to a listing appointment and somebody wanted to have, and by the way, Suzanne, I love the fact that you brought this up because this is, I think, part of our opportunity to be able to help team leaders get better at what they do. So thank you for bringing this topic up and being vulnerable. Okay, I love it. So first of all, thank you. But Gene, it would be like, and I'm certainly not an expert at this, but it would be like taking a listing presentation to somebody. And then you have like multiple ways you could list their house or multiple things you could do and say, pick one of these instead of saying, what are you trying to accomplish? You want to get out of here in 2 weeks. This is what I'm going to do for you versus giving them a whole bunch of choices. Could you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Typically for a listing appointment, there are about a dozen or more items of concern that sellers have. And this is not theory, and this is not my theory. It's KW research and NAR research. Every year they ask sellers, what were your concerns in selling? It creates a word cloud. And out of that, there's 12 to 14 or 15 every year that are the most concerns that sellers have. If you ask them to rank them, you'd find out that every seller typically has 2 or 3 issues that if you answered those issues to their satisfaction, they're ready to list. So
Right.
a listing agent's job is to not go vomit 15 things. It's to find out what's on their mind, like you said, and then solve those 3. Let me get right to them. Solve those 3. They're ready to get a sign in the yard. But there is another issue, Georgia, and that is if you have an appointment and you don't get them, then it's about the follow-up. And I'm
Right.
afraid a lot of team leaders as well as agents don't follow up well. And somebody will say, "Oh, I'm not ready to do anything right now." Well, what is the length of time you need? Should I follow up with you in a week, in a month, 6 months? What is your time frame? And I don't know that we do follow up good because a lot of people have said on this call that they're not getting immediate conversions on one appointment. It takes several appointments, and I think that's really where the money is. It's the follow up.
Well, and yes, and the other thing is, and I could be wrong on this, but I think if we help people work on this a little bit in showing the value of the big why, I think
Yes.
it helps with the close. Because it would be similar to this, Gene, like the 2 or 3 reasons why. But let's say that you've got a woman that her daughter, she just found out her daughter's pregnant and the baby's going to be born in 2 weeks. And you want to get your house sold, you're going to say, so basically is your big why to get the house sold for the biggest amount of money. But if I can get you what you want and I can get you in there where you can be holding the baby in your arms on the day of the birth, is that more important to you or getting the highest dollar for your house? Do you know what I mean? And so you get into that emotional context and you know what the big why is and you can kind of drive to that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Or, your kids starting school, or your kids graduating, or whatever the big why is. And I don't know, Gene, that in a lot of cases we get to that big why enough and then continue to use it in the conversation.
Well, if they follow the consultative interview as laid out through all the research, I think it works pretty darn well.
Right. So that's what I want. I want to be able to help some of our team leaders with that. Marietta, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I completely get that we want to solve their problems with all the amazing stuff we have. But if we do a good enough consultation, we can give them all the information you're talking about, Suzanne, as a smart plan. So the technology is their pain point, or getting leads, great. You have a website, and on Thrive it breaks it down so you can show them all that stuff that you showed them, but do it as a smart plan. And I think that'll get you some more time back.
Thank you.
That's what I'm working on.
I love you, Suzanne, for sharing that. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank
Dallas?
you.
Dallas?
I think that too many times we blanket R2s. Like you should meet with an R2 and they're going to join you in 2 to 3 appointments, but every one of them is different. And it depends on the level of their production as well as their need or desire to leave their company. And I've had many good consultative interviews where I've listened to them and found out and I've told them all this, and they finish with, that sounds great. This will be terrific. I feel like I should do this. And, well, but I'm not ready to go yet. I'm not ready to go yet. But that's where Gene is right. The follow-up with these people is key, and to keep in touch with them, because I've had people join me that I talked to 5 years ago. And they weren't ready to join yet. When I was an agent, I had several different companies constantly talking to me about coming over, and it all sounded great, but I wasn't ready to leave my company yet. My company hadn't done that thing that made me realize that I needed to go. And I think that too often I think we're trying to say, you meet with this guy and 2 times you've met with him, they should be signing up with you. Well, it's not always going to happen that way. And our job is to determine which ones are ready to go, which ones aren't. The ones that aren't, we keep in touch with them. And the ones that are, we should only be taking about 2 or 3 appointments with them. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and if you know that big why, like they wanna be able to do something or save money for a 25th wedding anniversary, or they need to make X amount of dollars to send their kid to, private school or whatever, and all of those things. And then you're tracking their production and you contact them a month later and say, hey, how are you doing? Did you put away that money we talked about for your for Sally's private kindergarten school? You're doing something different now. So I think it's the quality of the follow-up as well. You're doing something different now that their own broker isn't doing.
That's exactly right. And sometimes that fear of change is it far outweighs their big why.
Yeah.
And they just have to be shown through the months and years maybe following that their fear of change is ridiculous and they need to overcome it to get to their big why.
I have a good script for that. So Dallas, I'll just role play with you for a minute. I'll say, so Dallas, so I know that change is difficult. You've said that a couple of times that you're fearful of moving. Let me ask you a question. Does that ever come across when you're getting ready to list a house and people need to list, but they don't want to list with you because they're fearful of change?
Yeah, all the time.
What do you say to them, Dallas?
I generally tell them that
You
they
don't
want to go ahead and sell their home, and they've called me to do this. They've told me what they want to do, in the future.
Right.
And every day that they don't do it, they're farther away from accomplishing their goals.
Yeah. So Dallas, would you say that as an agent, you're really good at getting people to understand why you're the expert at helping people make a move?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm just as good as that as you are.
I like that.
Right.
I'm gonna have to bank that
That's
one.
my script for many years, and just say, just like you, take a seller or a buyer and convince them that this is the house they need, or this is the house they need to sell, and that you're going to make this move as simple as possible. And they're going to be so excited when they make that move, that that's the same thing that I'm going to do for you. So if people trust in you, I want you to trust in me, that I'm going to be able to do that same thing for you.
I like that.
Yep.
Thank you, Georgia. I'm gonna
You're welcome.
bankroll that one.
There you go. Well, it worked for me many times. So that's it, because they do the same thing that you do, right?
Right.
And if they can do it, we can do it. So anyway, and then I tell them, gosh, we bring over, 150 people a year. So we're pretty good at what we do. And over the last few years, I brought over 6 or 7 or 1,000 people. So I'm pretty good at what I do. And you can talk to any agent here and they're going to tell you how successful we were and how easy it was. So let's make that move today. So anyway, There you go. All right. I just want to give you guys from a regional perspective, I just want to show you, I think we were number 10 in the entire company for net. So California Southern Central was 30, Utah was 10, 6, 1, 0, -3, -6. So look, -6, everybody else was down here. So thank you for putting us in the number 10 spot. And I believe we were number 7 in gross. So well, actually number 6 in gross. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6. So Southeast was 444, Texas 233, 227, 213, 213, 201. Actually, we were up here. We were very close to some of the other bigger markets, actually. Carolinas and Pennsylvania. You guys outpaced them because they have like 40 and 46 market centers, and we're at 38. So you actually did, and tri-state as well. So you guys actually did a better job than they did. And you can see here, some of these other regions were much lower. So thank you again, because you guys did an amazing job. I'm really proud of you, and thank you again for your contributions. So a couple of things that I want to share with you that's coming up. First of all, we put this, Jason used the Spring Explosion playbook in the on the call today. We're going to be using, actually, to be honest with you, I'm going to be using a lot of this in the March 14th class, because I was going back through some of the materials and they just made it really simple by putting it here, but in here. But what we're going to do is we're just going to go dive deeper into some of the things that they have. But we wanted to make sure that you all had access to this. So I'm going to show you where it's going to be placed for you to be able to have this. And then I just want to remind you about the power up calls, because we are going to be watching everybody, and we want to make sure that you are hitting minimum 5 or greater every month. So we have here, we're going to be getting you this information, but I want you to put it down on your list now, that I'm not sure which one this is. Yeah. So it's going to be Tuesdays and Fridays it would be 10:30 to 11:30, 10:30 to 11:30, Tuesdays and Fridays, live on Zoom. They're not going to be recorded. This is going to be through June. I believe this is to help perpetuate the contest that they're having. But I think it's going to be very beneficial. So Tuesdays and Fridays, 10:30 to 11:30. We will be, because you're going to be in our class on Friday, we're just going to be having this on Zoom right there in the class. By the way, in our class, we're going to be actually having you making calls. So you are going to be setting appointments in our call. Okay. So this is going to be exclusive content and the words to help you set appointments. So I think this is very good, because this is exactly what we're talking about, is that we need to have more appointments. So please make sure that you're on that as well. And then so let me show you what we've done for you. So I'm going to go to our site. So this is our Leadership Hub site. Let me just show it to you again to make sure everybody knows our Leadership Hub. And what we did here is we have that that poem that they used. So that is being played here at the very beginning. And so when you scroll down here to Hot Topics, okay, of course, this is anything that we have, our call recordings and everything is listed here. But we made it very simple for you. So right here is, click here to access the recordings and the one-pagers that were shared at Family Reunion. So if you click here, this is all the stuff on Connect from Family Reunion. And if you want to have some of those one-pagers, you can just scroll down here and you see all the one-pagers. Now, what Ashley and our virtual assistants are going to do is they're going to download all of these, and they're going to keep them for us. So you'll always have access to these, because I know what happens, that after a period of time, these go away, they get moved, and you want them and you don't know where they are. So we are downloading them, and we're going to keep them for you. So you do have them now. And anything else that you wanted to know from the vision speech or anything, it's just right here. So if there's anything that you want to send out as a tool or a value tool for any smart plans, or just share information or take some ahas from something, all of that is right here. Then click here to unlock the best in Family Reunion. If you want to know where that is, we put it here as well. And the website to get this is events.kw.com/FR25 unlocked, and it stops right there. That would be what you would copy if you wanted to send it out, not the question mark. But here's the thing, this should be going out to everybody in your pipeline, or any indie, or any top agent, or anybody in your area, and say, guys, if you want to see a sample of what Keller Williams is doing to help you grow in 2025, please be able to check out our family reunion recap. You have all of this information being shared with you, and the fact that we may or may not be getting it out to anybody is kind of a shame, because that's all you need to do is figure out a way to get it out to everybody. And we're making it really easy for you to find these things. If you want to use the CHU, okay, the CHU is sent to top agents. We've asked that it's please be sent to leadership, and I think they're going to do it. I just don't know when, but the next issue, they're sent out every month. So the end of every month. So this was January, this was February. The next issue is going to come out March 28th. But if you want to be able to send out the CHU, we have these done for you. Now, here's the thing. This is what we found out. It's just a link somewhere. So what we have done is we have taken them, and thank you to Abby and Angela. They have taken the CHU and they put it on Canva. So we have now loaded them up. So you actually have them on Canva. So there's not a link that can get lost or anybody can find. So again, this is really, really good information. So you could go back and start with CHU number 1 and put that in a smart plan and send this out every month, and then start with CHU number 2 and send that out the next month, and you would kind of be ahead of yourself. Do you know what I mean? So those are the CHUs. So again, we're working to provide you as much information as possible. If you want to send out, or you want somebody to watch the open house video with you, that was last week, or you want to go back and recap it and get some of the words and be able to use your own conversation, we've actually put this out here for you to be able to go in and find. Okay, so it's right here. And actually the open house NAR settlement stuff is right here as well. But if you want to go back and listen to this, all you need to do is click it. And then you've got this. Now, I don't know that this is shareable because it's on Connect. So I don't know that we can do that. But it doesn't mean that you can't go to somebody's office. Like if you want to do an indie and you wanted to do a presentation. So let's say you call an indie and they're I don't know, 20 or 30 agent indie. And you were to say to them, if Jean was an indie, hey, Jean, this is George over at Keller Williams. I don't think we've ever had the pleasure to meet before, but you know what? First of all, congratulations. You're one of the top independent offices in our area. I don't know if you're familiar with this yet, but Gary Keller has a new partner, and you know what? We're going to be expanding and building new business centers and mega agent offices in the area. And if you want to know what's going on before we come to your area, I think you might be interested in listening to this, just for the satisfaction of knowing what we're doing.
I appreciate that, Georgia.
Okay, awesome. And then I set up a time. Okay, they're probably not going to say no to that because they're going to want to know what's going on, right, Jean?
Yeah. Yes.
Not if some of them don't want to know, that's their problem. But I think some of them are going to want to know. And so, are they going to say, well, what do you mean you're going to grow? Or what do you know? Just say, well, you know what? I don't know what this partnership is going to mean, but you know what? Let's listen to this together. I'd love to be able to sit down and tell you what it means to me. And so if you do see that we're coming to your area, you already know what we're all about. And I'd love to share the Keller Williams story with you, whatever. I'm not recruiting him. I'm just telling him a story. Okay. And so then take it to their office and play it for them. Okay. So now I'm going to tell you something else that's happening. Okay. So you've got all of this here. Okay. So Keller Williams is very, very focused on the growth of our company, and for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I've been with the company for 26 years. Jean's been with us for several years. I know Dallas has been with us for several years. Chris McLaughlin has been with us for several years. Chris and Jean, Rebecca, anybody, Robert Earl's been around for a while. Has there ever been a time that growth is not the focus?
No,
I don't think
no,
so.
no.
The
Doc,
very
How many
first, the
programs do
very
you want to
first
talk
red
about,
day,
George?
only the first red day did we not focus on it, but then
There
we
you go.
got right back to it the very next day.
There you go. There you go. So guys, growth is not new to this company. Okay. However, I'm going to say it is probably a more focused, focus than it ever has been. Okay. And Bob, I had the pleasure of riding around with Bob Kalinsky for the last couple of days because he was out here doing Biz Like Biz. And one of the things he said, the guy that owned Avis, or the CEO of Avis, never wanted to be number one because he said at Avis, we always try harder, even though they were number one. And I think that's somewhere where we've gotten, like, we're number one, and I don't know, and I want to be careful when I say that, because I know you guys try really hard. You do a really good job of working really hard. And I get that. So I'm not taking away from the fact that I know you guys are not diligent. Yet I think as in generalistic terms, I think that because we're number one, I think to a certain extent, we all have the tendency to take a lot of the things that we have for granted, and we assume everybody else does the same thing that we do and has the same kind of culture that we have and has the same kind of training that we have, and treats the people the same way that everybody does. And you know what, that it doesn't all work that way. And it's kind of like the kids that grow up in your household, and then all of a sudden they go down, you do the same thing, and they go down the street and they talk to somebody else, and they come back and they say, oh, Jimmy John's mom, she does it differently, right? And so they want to go down to Jimmy John's house and spend the night, and then they come back and then they go, oh, we do a whole lot better than Jimmy John's mom does it, right? So I think sometimes we're that way, because how many people do we get back that left us and said, this is home to us, right? This is home to us. So there's never been a focus on growth. There has always been a huge focus, but I think that they're focusing more on our focus on grossing agents, okay? And keeping our net up. So what do I mean by that? You're going to see that I'm going to be watching more closely appointments, watching more closely gross, watching more closely net. If you've got a business center, we're going to be asking for those numbers to be submitted separately on Slack, because we need to make sure that if we do have a business center, not an MEO office, because MEO offices are different, a business center that is out there, that sometimes we include it with one number. So let's just say that the market center has, I don't know, 1,500 agents in their area. And then we've got a business center attached to that market center, and out of that area, there's maybe another 500 agents, or maybe it's an out of territory business center and there's 500 agents there. Well, I need to track the business center numbers as well as the market center numbers, because sometimes we get a little bit hung up in, oh, we grossed 10 and that was for the market center that had 1,500, but we're not paying attention to over here. The business center has 500 people in their territory that we didn't pay any attention to. Does that make sense to everybody? So we're just going to be refocused on focusing on what our numbers are, on what our appointments are. And at the end of the day, what this all means, you guys are going to be the best that you can possibly be in grossing agents, in netting agents, and bringing value to your agents, and bringing profit share to our agents to change their life. And through all of that, the operating principal would get the profit that they deserve for the investment that they made. And then somewhere it'll all trickle down to the region. And I'll be able to say, I have the best OPs and team leaders and market center tech trainers and productivity coaches and directors of career developments and directors of communication in the entire company. There you go. Because all of this is going to lead to one thing, is to great culture in our company and great profit share for our agents, and the profits and the return on the investment that our operating principals made. But it can only happen one way, guys. It can only happen if we grow our agent count and help our agents who we do have in our market centers have a career worth having, have a business worth owning, so they can have a life worth living, so they can leave, have experiences and leave legacies. Does that all make sense? But we can't fulfill that mission statement if we don't grow. So I'm just letting you know, I'm gonna be doing some, a lot of texting, a lot of checking in, a lot of what's going on, a lot of training. And it's all for one good thing, to help us all grow and to be the best that we can be. All right, let me tell you some upcoming trainings. And by the way, I know this is a lot. I get it. March 14th, we're doing our team leader training. So if anybody wants to come to that, aside from those of you that are expected to come, you're all welcome to come. March 26th, we have in Tampa, we have our leadership meeting, our first leadership meeting, and we have Mike Ray coming to that. June 17th and 18th, we have Mike Forza. He's going to be teaching you Market Center financials. And guess what? We're going to be doing that in DeLand. So it's going to be a whole lot closer for you guys. And Rebecca, we'll get out there one day. We'll get out there one day. But make it a little bit closer. In DeLand, it's going to be closer for you guys in Jacksonville. So for Tampa, for Sarasota, Tampa, you're getting your little gift in March. Orlando, all the years, in the 20 years, can you believe it? I've been out here for 20 years. We've done most of our leadership meetings in Orlando. We're now shifting and we're going to go to Tampa. So for everybody that's in Orlando, you're going to have to drive a little bit. And then we're going to shift and we're going to go over to DeLand. It's going to actually be at Stetson University on the campus over there in DeLand. So that's real close to Daytona and Jacksonville, much closer for them. So we're going to be doing that one, as far as I know, in June there. And then, Ashley, am I missing anything? Oh, March 20th. I want to tell you about March 20th. So another way that you guys can all grow is by having the various divisions. So a couple of them, aside from young professionals and those, but from an agent perspective, is our commercial division. I don't know of any market center that we have in our region that does not have a commercial addendum to their franchise document. By having so, that means that you can have agents in your market center that can join our KW Commercial. I don't even know that all of you know what KW Commercial does, and it's amazing. So there's another focus of growth that you guys can go after and get commercial agents to join your market center, okay? Number one, from time to time, you can set up your commercial division. It can be a little bit higher of a cap, okay? But the other thing is that most commercial agents, they don't have that great a split. They don't have a great economic model. They don't necessarily have a networking opportunity to network with residential agents to be able to network back and forth and get referrals from each other. So there's a whole nother planet that you guys can learn about with KW Commercial. That's going to be on March 20th, right here at the Orlando Realtors Association. I'm sorry, March. Is it 21st, Ashley? Or 20th? 20th. I'm sorry? The 21st. It's March 21st is at the Orlando regional location. The Orlando regional, what is it? Yeah, Orlando Realtors Association in Orlando. That's on March 21st. That's going to be Cynthia Lee. It's the North and South Florida commercial directors are putting this on. We're not doing it. But they're bringing Cynthia Lee, the head of KW Commercial, to an event. They're going to have some panelists. They're going to talk about all about not just KW Commercial, but they're going to talk about the commercial environment. And so that's going to be like a big mega agent mastermind with commercial agents. So if you have any recruits or anybody that you think would be benefiting from that, but I would, if I were you, I would be coming to that. Then the 20th, this is what I'm doing. Cynthia Lee is arriving here at about 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to pick her up or get her over here. And she wasn't doing anything. So I said, well, I'm going to come down and hang out with you and learn more about commercial. And then if any of you want to come and hang out with me and Cynthia Lee on March 20th on Thursday, just arrive anywhere, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Then we're going to do a lunch. I think the South Florida region might be doing a mastermind or something. But if you have a mega agent or a mega commercial agent or anybody that's interested in learning commercial, let me know. And I can arrange for them to have some special time with Cynthia. Okay. So that's just And if you're interested in how you can grow your market center by having a commercial division, I would give me a call and say, hey, I want to spend some time with Cynthia, because that's what I would be doing right now as well. Okay. Anything else, Ashley? I'm ending 8 minutes early. I think I did everything. All right. What do you guys think? Tell me, give me some true thoughts about, we had a team leader call the other day and he said, oh my gosh, like I'm coming to the train the trainer, and then I've got the, the thing on the 14th, and then I've got this, and then I've got this. And I go, yeah, that's, sometimes that happens. Sometimes that happens. But you know what? Sometimes you have to get up earlier. Sometimes you have to stay up later. Sometimes you have to work on the weekends. One of the way a lot of team leaders are saying it's hard to get a hold of agents. Well, you know what? They do open houses on the weekends. So go to an open house on the weekend. Make sure that you got books. Walk in there. Lewis and I used to do that all the time on Saturday and Sunday. Doesn't mean you're giving up your Saturday and Sunday. It means that you're going to an open house along the way to going something else. Lewis and I used to have a plan when I was a team leader. We'd go out on Sunday to open houses and we'd be going to Home Depot or to a movie or whatever. We'd leave a couple hours early and we'd have the books in the car and we'd walk in, and that Lewis was my husband, for those of you that don't know. And Lewis was Mr. Chatty. So he would go up there and he would talk to the agent. He'd say, hey, how you doing? I'm Lewis Alpstar. My wife's Georgia with Keller Williams Realty. And I'd be walking around the office or the house and stuff, the open house. And he'd be talking to him and whatever. And this was all planned, of course. And then I'd be coming back and he'd say, hey, anybody, you have one of those books in the car? And I go, I don't know, I'll go see. And then I'd walk out to the car, I'd get the book, I bring it back in. I said, you mean the red book, the MREA? Yeah, this agent needs that and stuff. And then he'd say, I think you need to set up an appointment with her. And then I'd start talking to her. And then pretty soon, before you know it, I'd get an appointment. And then about, 2 hours later, we'd go off to the movies. See, we made it a part of our day. It doesn't have to be, thank you, Marietta. It doesn't have to be, oh, I got to go work. It's how do you make your opportunity, because it's not really a job. Your job as a team leader is really an opportunity in this company. Okay. I mean, I'm sitting in this chair today because I was a team leader at one point. Okay. So think about things like how are you gonna go out to open houses? How are you gonna go to MLS events? How are you gonna go to broker opens? How are you gonna go to Women Council Realtors? How are you gonna go to the event that Carla? I'm gonna do that. My husband would love. Yeah, just go do those things, guys. You just got to think outside of the box. Let's quit being traditional and thinking I got to come in and do a text message or a phone call. You got to go out and meet where the people are. Okay. And you know what? Marietta's saying she likes that idea. Yeah, no, bring him in and make sure you got books in the car.
Hey, Georgia.
Yeah.
Marietta likes that idea because Marietta is a blushing new bride. She just got married. So congratulations, Marietta. Yep.
Well, Marietta, congratulations. We didn't know that.
Yeah, she did this weekend.
There you go. Bring him with you.
Yep.
By the way, if you've got a child, bring your child with you. This doesn't mean that this is not a family event. Okay? I mean,
That's child labor law violation, I think.
well, you know what I mean, Gene.
Oh, I know what you mean, Georgia.
But I mean, you guys can, you don't think about it like you have to leave your family behind or something. I mean, gosh, people can be going out looking at open houses all the time. Make your opportunity their opportunity. I mean, Lewis and I always did that because, it just was who we are, and he wanted to help me be good at what I did. And it helps all of us. But you guys can be going out to broker opens in the middle of the week. You guys can be going to WCR events or Women Council Realtors or any of those things that are out there. The other thing I was going to tell you is, how many times do you guys go into a cocktail lounge or a restaurant or the Hostess or the dry cleaners or CVS or whatever, and the person across the counter just is like Mr. or Mrs. Personality, and they would be great in real estate? Do you talk to them about that? I mean, Mike Brody, I used to hang out with Mike Brody a lot because he was in our office when I was a team leader, and any place I went with Mike, if you're sitting there having lunch, yeah, he was recruiting the waiter, the waitress, the hostess, the bartender, the cab driver. It doesn't matter where it is. So, you know, you guys got to be thinking about this all the time, all the time. Somebody walked in accidentally in the hallway the other day on Friday, and then I'll let you go. And she was a leasing agent down the road for property. And so she'd been to the property management company across the street. And she came in and she was asking me questions. And I said, oh, I said, the person you wanted to talk to is downstairs. And then I took her down and I said, have you ever thought, do you have a real estate license? Yes. I said, who's it hung with? And she told me. I said, well, it needs to be here. And then I introduced her to Sean, and Sean's got something going on with her. And I said, well, you need to have an appointment with me. So talking about team leader opportunities. So, guys, you need to think outside the box. All right, I used up my extra minutes. I love you all. Let's go grow. Thank you for the numbers, but I'm going to ask for more. So, let's be really competitive, and let's, thank you. I know you like my pink. Thank you, Caroline. Let's go out and grow more, and let's be the best that we can be. I love you. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Georgia.
You're welcome.